Alrighty, welcome to another match. This is a throwdown, not a league match this time. I'm here in the booth with Chris. I'm Scott.
Hello.
So we got Damien, Madigan, and Nick Potter. Two very interesting decks here. We got a mill deck in Jabba Vader, and we've got a sort of it's basically called It's a Trap because it's built around that card. It's all about that card. It's just all guns all the time.
Yeah, that is one card. Is there any guns over there on the left there? I'm assuming there will be some turning up, perhaps in some of the upgrades, maybe.
So that's it. There's no guns on the base characters, but we might see some later in like maybe a Mind Probe or something like that, or a Force Throw. Damien's going to really have to decide on whether or not he plays those cards, knowing that It's a Trap could just turn the dice into 12 damage or something.
Well, yeah, you can already see 4 red dice there. What's that? You're looking at easily
it can
6
do 8
damage there, just on the table.
It's got a ceiling of 8 damage, which is pretty absurd.
Oh, it's got 8, does it? Oh, I can't see.
Oh, no, sorry, it's only 6, you're right.
Yes, 6, there we go. No, that card is just the fact that it's an ambush, just making it unstoppable, and you can just take 8 damage without being able to do anything about it.
Yeah, it's pretty absurd. So for those who don't know, It's a Trap. It costs 1. If your opponent has a die showing range damage, you turn all your red dice to sides showing range damage. So that includes DH-17 blaster pistols. It shows promotions to the +1 side, like F11D rifles. Although not in this deck, F11D rifle, because it's a hero. It's a villain card and there's a hero deck. But you know, there's still things.
Absolutely, and there isn't a lot of red dice with range at the moment, but it can still do a lot of damage.
Oh, I played against this deck at a recent tournament. There's plenty of red dice.
There's enough, is there?
There's plenty, don't worry about that. Even things like Holdout Blaster, like they're not red dice, but they have enough damage on them that they'll complement the red dice.
Oh, very good. We're choosing the, is that Echo Base?
Echo Beach?
Echo Beach. Base, Beach?
It's called Base.
Oh, right.
It's fondly known as Echo Beach around here. We got a turn 1 Force Choke from Damien.
Oh, look out.
Getting his resources out of there. This deck's interesting because it really wants to end the game by running your opponent out of cards. Vader's really there for his ability, which is completely contrary to most times we see Vader. Vader's usually there for the 2-3 damage sides.
Absolutely. I mean, they help too, I'm sure. But
well, yeah, the deck usually deletes 1 or 2 characters out of whatever their team is and then wins the game through the mill.
Actually, Damien, I've played against Damien with this deck too, I believe, and he did use one of those Vader dice, the 3 sides, for a disarm.
Yeah, he does play disarm. It's really powerful to get rid of lightsabers, even like a holdout blaster or something. Like
there's a lot of upgrades that cost 3, and he can just discard that completely. It can change the game.
Oh, it's huge. So we've got Leia in with a holdout blaster. We've got Ackbar following with the 2 focus. An excellent side on that die. It means that Nick's rolls are much more consistent than most aggressive decks.
Absolutely.
Like there's 2 focus from Jabba. We're going to reroll 1 because we don't need both of those. There's the 2 disrupt in case Nick needs resources for whatever reason. Like the holdout blaster might show up some damage.
One other thing that Damien taught me is that you can reroll any yellow dice.
Any yellow dice, even the Falcon, which has happened against me in the past.
Yes, even Django. After he may activate after you, if you're controlling, you can
using using the Q to your advantage, you can really influence the game. So here's the 2 focus from Ackbar showing up 4 damage from Leia. He's going to force choke that back down to a blank and deal 1 unblockable damage to Her Highness.
Wow.
So Nick decided to put the shields on Leia here. He feels that she's the more vulnerable one, but in doing so also puts the holdout blaster there. So he's kind of covering both bases.
Absolutely.
He wants to make her not the target. He wants Ackbar to go first. He wants Damien to focus any damage he might deal, which isn't probably a lot, onto Ackbar.
Damien, I'm assuming, is going for a long game here, though.
Just definitely going for the full game.
Mitigating the dice as best he can. And
he wants to use the best blue and yellow dice removal cards in the game, which I think these are the colors to do it, definitely in the villain faction.
Absolutely.
To remove all the dice each turn and just get through the 5 cards in your opponent's hand.
That's right.
So Jabba has 2 discard sides. It's got 2 dice. There's a good chance of hitting it. There's also focus on there.
Is that a couple of deflects in Damien's hand?
That's a couple of deflects, which is really powerful against Nick here, obviously.
He's got that disarm out already.
He's just looking. He's looking at that holdout blaster. It's going to go away at some point.
Maybe you wait till he upgrades it and just get extra cheeky.
Well, that's it. It's extra valuable against a redeploy weapon because that weapon will be around the whole game unless you get rid of it.
So we got 2 on Jabba there. Leia took, is it just the 1 there? Yeah.
Jabba took the 1 from Force Choke, which is unblockable under her shields.
Right.
I think she's got 3 shields now, which is...
Yeah, that's pretty good.
So she's looking at 10 health and 3 shields, which is pretty stocky.
Absolutely.
Here comes the Crime Lord himself.
Oh, it's 11 health on Leia, so she's 14
but she has a damage
minus the damage, yeah.
So there's the 2 discard from Jabba, plus the focus in case Nick does something about it. Here comes a DH17 blaster
Another
pistol.
red dice.
That's a red dice with range damage on it, funnily enough.
There it is.
In addition to It's a Trap, this deck also plays 2 hit and run, 2 all in, which makes it just completely ridiculous. Like I played a game the other day where I was playing against this in a tournament, and I had a reversal, and it was going to be amazing. I was going to reversal Leia's die to kill her. I didn't get a chance to. He hit and run one turn. I was like, all right, I'll do it next turn. Hit and run another turn. I was like, all right,
no.
I'll try again. Then he rolled up no damage. I'm like, oh, this is good. I've got it for when he focuses. He plays all in, then kills me.
Oh no.
It was a great series.
You
of
pretty
events.
much were an audience member for that game.
Oh, I died with the reversal on my hand.
Yeah,
I sit there with like 10 resources.
Dear, oh dear.
Here's some damage.
Oh, look out. Here we go. The red dice doing their thing.
So Damien's deck obviously wants to mitigate as much damage as possible each turn, and these are the sort of rolls that he will struggle against.
Absolutely, but if he can get rid of those hit and runs and get rid of those It's a Traps by making him discard them, that will certainly help.
That would be amazing. He just wants to hit them in the hand, and if he doesn't, he's have to weather them, because he's the sort of deck that will go to the end of the game. Like, if Nick gets a chance to see them, he'll play them, unless they get discarded. So it's 4 more damage on the big boy. So Jabba's taking a bit of a beating here. Ackbar isn't even rolled in yet.
Yeah, who would you target here? I'm assuming you would target Jabba for the discards.
You're absolutely right. I think you have to go for Jabba here. He's not as scary damage wise, but his control is too powerful. Like he will reroll. He rerolls his dice once he rolls them in, so he's got a very good chance of hitting either the disrupt or the discard. And that's not what you want to see. You're trying to play your game. Look, Nick's here showing he's out of cards. That's another thing.
He's pretending to sift through nothing. Is he there?
That's it. Damien is chosen Vader here. A lot of people play Jabba Dooku. It's elite Dooku, so and Dooku's obviously a little bit more survivable because of his ability.
Yes.
But I think Vader's the right choice.
Well, the discard every time.
Every turn.
Every time it activates. I mean,
you see Dooku doing the 2 discard maybe half the time if he's on a good day. So if Vader can match that by just rolling in every turn and not spending the die to do it, like you got to treat Vader as his other die that isn't there that you're missing from Dooku already hitting the discard.
Absolutely.
I think it doesn't cost him a resource as well, and he's just a lot. He's got 13 health. He does a pretty good impersonation of a character that won't die.
Well, then load him up with upgrades, and he's all of a sudden this powerhouse that's
that's it.
Also good for dealing a bit of damage at the same time.
Well, yeah, if you're playing as maybe a 3 or 4 character list and you really can't weather the storm of 4 characters or 3 characters, you can just kill one. Vader can get it done.
Oh, there goes that holdout blaster.
He's been looking at it for a while. He just wants to get it off the table. Only 2 DH17. Still a very good draw from Nick here. Damien's looking at a Feel Your Anger and a Deflect in hand. Both very good cards against this. The DH17s have 2 blanks, so that fuels Feel Your Anger quite well.
Absolutely.
He now drew the block. Not great in this matchup. You could almost say it's dead in this matchup.
Yeah, it's going to be a reroll, that one, I think.
I feel it'll be a reroll or a discard at the end of turn. Here comes Jabba, trying to get the 2 discard off the bat. There's a focus. He's going to reroll the blank into another focus.
Dual focus.
Dual focus is always so awkward, isn't it?
Now, one thing I did learn too with these milling decks is there's a couple of battlefields that can actually help you mitigate it a little bit.
Exactly right.
Is it the Rebel base? No, Mos Eisley.
Mos Eisley Spaceport will you can bounce a upgrade to gain a resource.
Yeah, not ideal because you end up lowering your damage, but at least you keep a card in your hand. The other one is the Starship Graveyard.
Starship Graveyard. We saw that last match, yeah.
Where they can just keep alive by just recycling, just making sure they claim and recycling those cards.
Well, that's it. Damien actually used to play Mos Eisley because it's sort of renowned as the do-nothing battlefield.
Right.
So decks that don't really want a battlefield just want to play on nothing. So he chose that one. Then he realized his opponents just kept surviving for 3 or 4 more extra turns.
That's right.
And it really punishes Jabba's bad rolls if he has that battlefield. So he decided to swap it out, take Echo Beach. He just wants, like, if it's the next sort of do-nothing battlefield. That
absolutely.
It gives him a shield. Like, he can stay defensive if he claims it. He doesn't really care if his opponent takes it because damage is not his win condition.
I'm surprised he didn't take one that's the remove a character die, but I guess he
doesn't want his opponent to just, like, once he mills your hand, you're probably going to claim. So you don't want to remove one of Vader's dice or... Like,
he wants the shields for just longevity, I guess.
Yeah, so I think the reason he took Echo Beach is that his opponent doesn't get advantage by using it because he's not dealing damage. Whereas with Frozen Waste, which is the other battlefield you mentioned, that one might actually be useful to his opponent.
Right.
It's definitely an argument, definitely a discussion to be had there. Let us know what you think in the comments, which battlefield you take with this sort of deck. There goes a Commando raid from Nick. Interesting card.
He's down to the 1 card again, is he?
He's down to a single card. I can't quite see what it is here. He's concealing it from us, holding it very close to his chest, quite literally. There's a shield. Is it a survival? Yeah, I can't quite see what that is.
Looks like there's a bit of snow on the picture, or am I totally wrong?
Oh, it's an all-in. So is this a card Nick wants to keep? Because there's focuses galore on these two character dice here. If he can just roll in a pretty conspicuous roll, and then play an all-in and just do a lot of damage out of nowhere, that's exactly what he wants, because it dodges things like deflect, it dodges things like feel your anger.
And he's doing a good job here not taking the damage, but he might be hemorrhaging cards a bit here. He's probably, what, halfway through his deck now?
So it's interesting that Nick's playing Commando Raid. It's, for those who don't know, it's one resource, a red event, hero. Resolve one of your red dice showing discard, increasing its value by 2, then draw a card. So there's a discard side on Ackbar, which, like, I guess if he hits it, I guess playing Commando Raid, it makes that side a little less blank.
I suppose so.
Because if you can hit 3 cards, it's pretty nutty.
Yeah, that's a significant change to that round. But whether it could be replaced with something more effective with the damage strategy,
I think he's just out of things that have guns on them.
there is a good chance. I'm assuming he has all of them.
There's the discard from Jabba.
2 discard again, and then Vader will discard another one.
We're playing a rearm here, which is pretty good against the mill strategy.
Yeah, rearm's one of my favourite cards. That discard one of those DH17s to reroll, and then just rearm it back on for free. It's fantastic.
Well, I was looking at my card before. Did that DH17 get disarmed?
Because
it was in the discard and it was in play.
No, I think it was just the holdout blaster, but unless he must have pulled it back out again, yeah.
Fair enough. So Damien's looking at Immobilize, which is a card that a lot of discussion to have about this card. So some people think it's terrible, some people think it's amazing. Some people call it a new player only card. It's definitely not. This card is really strong in a control style deck, especially strong in this style deck where they have very few cards to reroll their dice. So it's not something you do straight away. It's an action you usually wait till the end of the turn. And you just you play it, you roll in. You can claim shields. It's got a lot of shields on it. It keeps your characters alive. But then at the end of the turn, after they're out of cards, you just remove their last sort of range or melee damage or whatever, or focus or whatever you want to do, and then they're just out of options. I think the card's great in this deck. Can only go on Vader, so it means they like it. If they go in for Dooku, if they go in for Jabba, it means Vader's going to survive anyway.
Don't look at that logistics I just put on the table, says Nick.
So, Electroshock here, another great control card.
Oh, absolutely.
Is this the deck that can play the most control cards in the game? Like the best ones? It can play Isolate, it can play Electroshock, it can play...
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you've got your Deflects, you've got Force Throws, you've got...
It's got everything, right?
Yeah.
Like, Villain has slightly better control than Hero.
I agree.
Like, He Doesn't Like You and Isolation are both just great versions of the cards that they could have been.
He probably doesn't have a flank in there. Probably no need for that.
Probably no flank in the 2-character list. Like it's not impossible, but he definitely rolls in very aggressively. So he's definitely not playing like he has flank.
That's right.
He's playing 2 copies of dodge and block. He's just all in on control here.
Right. So he just wants to make sure that he stays alive long enough to mill that deck.
He's playing Feel Your Anger. Like he's got everything.
So
apart from some of the...
I see 1 shield. Is that a disrupt?
Yeah, we got one shield, a disrupt from the IQA blaster, a blank from Leia, 2 focus from Ackbar, another focus from, I think it's the promotion. Does that have a focus on it? And,
I believe promotion does have a focus, yes.
And then a blank from the other Ackbar die.
Now, one thing that may actually come into play that doesn't normally is the fact that you can remove one of Leia's dice to reroll another dice. Now, if you're out of cards, that option all of a sudden becomes a little more... tempting.
It's true. It's definitely something you can do that most decks don't have the option. Like I don't see that ability used very often. But hey, look, I'll take it.
If you've got nothing else, no cards in your hand, and two blank dice on the table with Leia as one of them, you may as well try for something else.
Damien's on a good line here. He's going to blank that die, forcing Nick to use the focus from the promotion to turn it back, and then he's going to Feel Your Anger to remove the base again.
Oh wow.
Damien will be feeling pretty good about this. Or he's got dodge if things go rough. But if Nick has like you just decides to reroll them all or something, he might. He's turning the Ackbar die. Is he going to turn it to a? Does he have a Commando Raid in hand?
I'll have to see. But if he's turned that to the discard, it's very likely.
I think That
Yeah, it looks like it could be.
I can't quite see, but Damien seems to be shocked by this. I still don't think Damien feels upset about this at all. He's mitigated all the damage on table. He doesn't really care.
That's
He just
an
wants...
interesting play because that'll stop all the dice mitigation and then give him a chance to deal some damage.
Well, yeah, you're exactly right. So, like, if Nick discards it, is that logistics? I think it's the logistics. Maybe that Ackbar is showing a resource.
It's the logistics he dropped on the table before, wasn't it?
Of course. So if Damien gets, like, on the discussion before, if Nick randomly hits the discard on Ackbar and uses it, Damien tends to hoard his cards. Like, he won't be getting a fresh 5 every turn. He'll be getting a fresh 2 or 3.
Right.
So, and if he randomly gets hit by a discard, he'll be losing some good cards potentially.
Yeah, I don't think there's a card he's not wanting to use in these situations. That dodge will be very handy for him at some stage.
Discarding logistics, hit a resource. Not exactly what we want to see. Damien's done. He's just going to claim. He doesn't think they can do any more damage here. He's out of cards. Leia's got an ability, but yeah. What's the IQA going to hit there? The special's fine. The damage base, it's just not a big deal. Damien rather the shield, which basically blanks the die anyway.
Absolutely.
So we're seeing a new hand from players. Damien's drawn another electroshock, another block, not as good. A forced throw here. Does he? Does he spend?
It's a trap.
Oh, there it is. So the forced throw here could be a liability. We're gonna see a reroll from Jabba, obviously. The focus, yeah, it's fine. Do you reckon Damien will play the forced throw knowing that he could get it trapped?
Yeah, that's a really good question.
It's only the 1 in 6 chance of hitting it, and Nick has to have it, and he has to not discard it.
He doesn't have any range damage out there at the moment, does he?
No, like he could be playing it really safe, but force throw is such a powerful card.
Oh, he doesn't need it by the looks of things. Look at that roll.
Well, that is a trap right there. Nick's remember to get his resources. We're looking at what 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 damage here.
Yeah, just naturally.
So that's a dead Jabba.
There he goes.
Does Nick want to spend Leia's dice on Vader in this action? He is perfectly entitled to.
Did Leia just kill Jabba? That's so movie-like.
That didn't happen. I don't know what you're talking about. Jabba beats everyone, right?
Oh, of course.
Interested that Nick chooses not to do the last remaining 2. Oh, he does. He just forgot to remove it. We got Immobilize here from Vader. Vader's going into defense mode. Not sure how many cards Damien managed to pick off before Jabba died here. Because Nick still has a deck. It's got maybe 3, 4, 5 cards left in it. So this is going to be a bit of a long slog for Damien, especially if Nick just has those potential turns where he just does 12 damage.
Absolutely.
All right. So we got a couple blanks here. Not what Damien needs to see.
We've got some earthquakes happening under the table.
Electroshock the 1. He just needs to get rid of the base. There's a shield for Ackbar. Nick's pretty happy with this turn.
Yeah, it seems like the tide has shifted a little bit, and he still hasn't taken a lot of damage. He's now just got to hold on to whatever cards he can.
So Damien's definitely not. I think he's decided not to play force throw because he hasn't seen either. It's a trap yet, and the deck's getting real thin.
Does make sense, and that's yeah. I guess being familiar with the red decks and knowing what could come and knowing the other person's strategy, this is where it all comes into play.
These players both represent Team Shed. It's just
Team Shed,
fondly named after the home field, which is Matt's shed.
Right.
They come to tournaments and they do pretty well. Nick actually took out a 29-player event on Sunday.
Oh, fantastic!
Playing this exact deck, he went 6-0. 5-0. Sorry, 5-0.
Wow.
Yeah, it was absurd. There was a lot of players, a lot of good players, some new players, but he did very well, and it's great to see him coming in because he's very new to the game. He jumped on a bit later than everybody else.
I like that it's different. Like it's not your usual Vader Raider or your all the common kind of combinations you see out there. I've not seen this one win yet. It may be more popular than I know, but it's the first time I've seen this one take out a tournament.
It was a good match to feature because these are 2 interesting decks that we like to see on the table. So we got a lot of range damage there, all based on 1 base.
Oh my goodness! So
does Damien have a way out? He's got a dodge here, which is pretty good. He might unpredictable first, or he's just going to do it. He's
just dodge it.
He's just going to do it anyway. May as well get it out of the pool.
Just stops the damage.
He can use unpredictable next turn. But losing Jabba means he's just really slow now. He's really got to either go into damage mode, kill one of the characters, and try and weather the storm, or he's just got to try and get the mill. So we got to roll. We got can't quite see. I think it's either the disrupt and shields from mobilize, obviously, and then the blank. Not exactly what he wants. The disrupt's pretty powerful here. Nick's only on 2 resources. Maybe he can't play any more upgrades. He's discarded a take cover. Interested in Nick's playing take cover. What do you think of that card?
Take cover, is that just gain a shield?
Gain a shield.
Do you have to control the battlefield or anything? It's just have a shield.
0, gain a shield.
Just a free shield for 0 points.
It costs a card. That's the important part.
Well, like, what are these other options?
Not a very powerful card. A lot of people don't like it. I'll talk to Nick after this match to see why he's playing the card. Maybe he just feels that the characters need that little extra because they've got 11 and 9 health, not a huge amount.
Might just, help to take them up a little bit. And I guess he doesn't have access to other, like Hunker Down is one that comes to mind that's 0 points that's worth more than 1 shield.
Well, he's playing defensive position. He's playing dug in. So maybe it's just, that's it. That's all's left.
Resistance HQ is another one, I guess. But it's, that's interesting that he has that one. Maybe that's...
Discarding a rearm to reroll, hoping to get a lot of guns.
More guns there.
Say we get 1, it's simple, but it works.
Certainly.
So we got 2, 3, 4 damage here and a shield. We're going to immobilize to blanket. It's always sucky when you have to immobilize so early in the turn when your opponent still has like 4 cards in hand.
Absolutely.
But with Jabba down, it's going to be a lot harder to sort of force your opponent down on cards.
And the pace really has slowed now.
Oh, you see it straight away. So we've got a shield on Vader here, claiming the battlefield. Not much else he can do here. He's got 2 force throws. I wonder if he discards these in a turn. Do you think he will? Or do you think he's going to try and play them?
The force throws with the mind bullets?
All 3 of those cards have mind bullets. He's keeping 1.
He's keeping 1. Okay,
they all have 1 ranged side.
You might take that 1 in 6 chance.
Double data pad, a dodge. He doesn't like you, and a force throw from Damien. Nick, on the other hand, is an IQA blaster. Looks like 2 either dug in or defensive positions. I can't quite remember the artwork for those. A holdout blaster, and it looks like another promotion. Vader picking up an iPad.
Data pad on Vader, just getting those resources in to potentially play that force throw. But
those are defensive positions in Nick's hand.
They are defensive positions.
They remove all dice your opponent controls showing 2 or higher if you control the battlefield. And Nick hasn't controlled the battlefield for a while this game.
That 2 or higher, so not higher than 2.
No, 2 or higher. So
2
basically,
or higher.
Pretty much most of Vader's sides.
Absolutely.
Very good in this matchup, but he does need to control the battlefield.
But not many of the other dice. I know certainly the data pad doesn't have that. Not that it's a big threat, but...
Alright, so the data pad's got the resource. It's paid for itself. It's doing exactly what it's supposed to do. It's a great card. Very, very innocuous.
I think it's acting more like a resource bank for future upgrades.
That's what it does. It's just really good at that. It gives the resource back and then gives a discount when you place it. Not a great roll from Leia. Like, you don't always want to see damage, but you definitely don't want to see blanks.
That's it. Remove a die, reroll 2 others, I say.
Nick's just got to really consider if Damien has a Feel Your Anger or not. Because he might roll an Ackbar and have 3 of its dice removed.
That is true.
This is a situation where you might want to just discard cards to reroll Leia's dice. Without having Ackbar's dice in the pool.
Now, he has, 1 card left?
It looks like 1 card in his deck, so discarding to reroll here is quite dangerous, especially with Vader just pushing down the discard every single turn.
Oh, is that It's a Trap gone? Is that?
That's It's a Trap gone. So
it must be the other one in the deck still.
So not very good here. It's a Trap because he's been very, very diligent. He hasn't played the force throw. He hasn't played anything that has range until he sees both It's a Traps.
Right.
But you can be sure as soon as he sees the second one, that's coming down.
Yeah, the force throw is coming in.
Don't know if we're going to get a chance to see that though, because it might be the last card in his deck.
Yeah, it looks like it may be the one that's face down up in the top right there, but is that a dug in his hand?
It's defensive position.
Defensive position, right.
So removing the force choke data, remove the IQA special, which is deal 2 unblockable damage. With he doesn't like you.
He's got a holdout blaster as well. Nick has one. Can upgrade one of those red dice. Don't know why he would, but I guess It's a Traps are gone now.
So Damien needs to get as much out of each turn as possible because if he every new turn is a chance Vader just dies.
Absolutely, with all these dice, and they are rolling pretty well. I mean, last round wasn't a good example of that, but
Nick's playing into his trap a little bit here. Like, it's a bit of a pun, but Nick's discarding cards to reroll where he really probably should just be passing the turn. Going to the new turn where you can reroll in with fresh characters.
Yeah, that is correct.
He still has Leia's ability.
Well, that's right. I mean, this is where it really comes to the fore. Just to save those cards as much as possible.
Although I guess if he goes the next turn, Damien also gets a whole new hand of cards.
That is
That's
true
a
as
huge
well.
block, a huge dodge rather. So Leia can remove that die to reroll the DH17, which is it's not nothing. Like you might get a couple of damage through.
At least it's an action.
It's the shield. Vader's just getting further and further out of reach. 2 cards left in Nick's arsenal of resources. You can assume one is It's a Trap unless we've missed it earlier. He's good claim. Good claim. It's always a good claim when your opponent immediately passes.
Where is it? What is it? No.
It's another takeout. We must have missed it earlier in the game. He must have discarded it.
They're both gone, yeah. Or had it discarded for him.
Yes, I imagine that's what happened. So, what we're looking at health-wise, Ackbar's full, Leia's on
2 damage,
2 damage and 3 shields. Vader's on 2 damage and 2 shields. So, Nick's got to really spike Vader this turn.
And hope that, I mean, he has to discard a card with Vader's ability.
Well, he discarded Take Cover to Vader's ability. Not a bad start, 4 damage. He needs 9 more.
Wow. And,
unpredictable.
Yeah, without...
Yep, that's what unpredictable does. It turn a die to a side showing the same side.
Or
ambush.
more, in my case, more damage is what usually comes.
Uses the ambush to blanket with robots. Blanking here is fine because Nick's probably not going to discard his last card to reroll it.
Yeah, I'd say he's holding on to that one.
I imagine we'll see a Leia ability here if he remembers it.
Well, that's the thing. He may use it so
rarely.
sparsely. Yeah, he probably might not actually have that in his strategy.
Yeah, exactly.
But nope, he's just going for it.
So he has to because he's turned the Force Choke to the discard. That card is not safe. He's on his last legs here. He has to kill Vader in this 1 action plus Leia's ability, which that's a lot of guns here. What do we got? We got one on Leia. We have 2 unblockable, 1 range, a focus. He's used the Force to turn the +3 down, so we're looking at 2, 3, 4, 5. He can focus that to +3, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's not quite enough.
Oh, it's
9.
a lot, but it's might not get him there, unfortunately.
So if Leia removes her dice to discard to reroll the resource and the shield, he might actually get there. He wants to get it done first, just before Damien gets a chance to do it. That's a hell of a last ditch effort.
Wow. Took a beating.
So he needs 5 more damage. He's immediately taking the shield because he knows he can't do anything. 2 more damage underneath the shield. So he can't do it. It's
a shame, but
Leia, what Leia needed to do there was remove that die instead of to re-roll the other 2, and even then, there's not enough damage on it.
It's still just chance, isn't it?
Oh, that was closer than I thought.
It really came down to that last round.
You can really see the tempo change when Jabba dies.
Most definitely. I know he's just so tanky though, so taking him out isn't as easy as you might think, especially with all that the cards you're discarding and the mitigation.
Well, that's it. Like every turn, you're only playing with 4 cards. Then Jabba removes 2 of them, maybe. So you've got realistically 1 card you can spend a turn on doing what you want,
Absolutely.
and that is not always chosen for you. Like you sometimes get what you want. You sometimes lose your best cards, and the deck is just packed to the brim with dice removal.
So you've just got to pretty much work with what you got most of the time.
It's an uphill battle, and congratulations to Damien. We'll be back with more throwdowns and leagues and tournaments and all sorts of other Destiny content for you. Subscribe to our channel, like our videos, share them, tell your friends. I've been Scott. This has been Chris.
See you later, guys.
Thanks for watching.